All right, everyone, good morning. My name is DJ. We do Proverbs every single day, even when we're out on the road in random places in the world. We still do it every day. And so I am pre-recording this and will be posting this and to broadcast at our normal time. But in any case, yeah, this is where we're at. So thanks for being here with me today. Let me pray for you and then we'll get going. Father God, thank you so much for another day and for all those within the sound of my voice this morning, that you may bless them with whatever comes out of my mouth, that it would be a pleasing sacrifice to you and something that is enriching to us. And today, as we read from your Proverbs, we ask that you would bless us with your wisdom, and we do ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, now this is going to be fun. Proverbs 27 in the New Revised Standard Version, Updated Edition. So feel free to follow along if you would like. Yeah, just what it is. I'm not going to have it on the screen today. I'm actually reading from a tablet myself. And so, yeah, it won't be the same as it often is. But you know what? I'm stalling to give you time to pull this up. I use the YouVersion app on my tablet and phone, if that's helpful to you at all. And on there, it is the NRSV UE is the kind of designation for that. And as far as the Bible Gateway, I typically do that. I'll try to remember to include that link as well. If there's a way to do this on the mobile as well, I will do that. We'll see what I can come up with. This is going to be a different way to do it today. So I'm probably just going to go direct. I'm not going to have this as a live broadcast. I'm just going to have this as a direct recording on YouTube, and then I'll just point people towards that today and see how that goes. Kind of experimenting. I think I mentioned previously that I was looking at doing that as a format going forward. The live may or may not be ideal for me, but I think ultimately I like the accountability of it. So we'll see what happens. But on days like this, sometimes it's good to experiment. So in any case, Proverbs 27, reading from the New Revised Standard Version, Updated Edition. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, and a stranger, and not your own lips. That's a good one to highlight, by the way. Verse 2, let us another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. Verse 3, a stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Again, we're talking about this a lot lately, but not shying away from rebuke. Rebuke is a good thing, and much better than love being hidden. We want to live in between that somewhere. Verse 6, well meant are the wounds a friend inflicts, but profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Yeah. Again, it's that dichotomy of the bound, of the extremes on either end. Verse 7, the stated appetite spurns honey, but to a ravenous appetite, even the bitter is sweet. Like a bird that it strays from its nest is one who strays from home. Perfume and incense make the heart glad, but the soul is torn by trouble. Verse 10, do not forsake your friend or the friend of your parent. Do not go to the house of your kindred in the day of your calamity. Other translations of, Better a neighbor than who is nearby than a kindred who is far away. Forgot to complete that. So verse 10 is often a confusing one for people because we think often that we should go to family first. And honestly, that's not the direction here. That's not what this is saying. This is saying, go to your friends first. And there's definitely some wisdom there in going to your friends and dealing with the people that are seeing you in your context more frequently than your family, who can't help but see you in the context of you growing up, that sort of thing. That's part of it. But also, there's just it's a difficulty in with family, and some families are different, but the honest guidance is just to keep these troubles away from your family, so you don't have that hanging over your head, I guess you could say. Verse 11: Be wise, my child, and make my heart glad, so that I might answer whoever reproaches me. The clever see danger and hide. The simple go on and suffer for it. Take the garment of one who has given surety for a stranger. Seize the pledge given as surety for foreigners. I've gone on about that one. Whoever blesses a neighbor with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, will be counted as a cursing. Kind of talked about that yesterday, didn't we? A continual dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike. To restrain her is to restrain the wind, or grasp oil in the right hand. Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens the wits of another. Anyone who tends a fig tree will eat its fruit, and anyone who takes care of a master will be honored. Anyone who takes care of a master will be honored. That is a weird thing to say, isn't it? Looking for a footnote. Not really finding anything on that one. Come back to that one of these other times. I'm very curious about that. Verse 19: Just as water reflects the face, so a human heart reflects another. Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and human eyes are never satisfied. Yeah, I think sometimes we need to take a beat and then recognize that many times we get a little obsessed with the things, and the things we have, the things that others have, the things we want. Yeah, just taking a beat on that and realizing that our human eyes can't be satisfied in that regards, and so we need to train our desires elsewhere. Verse 21: The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold. So a person is tested by being praised. Interesting translation there. That feels like maybe it was softened a bit from other translations, but that's okay. Sometimes you need that different perspective, but the meaning is the same. Is that you are. That one actually is very interesting because it's basically saying that being praised is a test like crucible. It's going to test your character. It's going to test your whether or not you are in it for yourself and getting your reward here, or if you're looking for your reward in heaven, if you're storing up treasures, that sort of thing. So, what's it going to be? Verse 22. Crush a fool in a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain, but the folly will not be driven out. I am unclear on that one, but or it's almost like it's saying it's not worth trying to correct a fool, but I'm not really sure if that's what that's actually saying. Let's move along then. We'll get hung up on something like that. Verse 23. Know well the condition of your flocks, and give attention to your herds. For riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. When the grass is gone, and new growth appears, and the herbage of the mountains is gathered, the lambs will provide your clothing, and the goats the price of a field. There will be enough goat's milk for your food, and for the food of your household, and nourishment for your female servants. Yeah. So basically, verse 23 on the 27 are all, I think, lumped together. They're not individually, they're not meant to be individuals. It really, that knowing well the condition of your flocks. For us, without flocks and herds to be productive with, especially going into this new year. What I want to, I guess, challenge you with is a notion of preparedness. And I know a lot of you are in different places. I'm in different places. I was actually looking over some things and realizing that, oddly enough, this year, from an income perspective, is lower than I have, I think, ever had in the last 20 years. I think. I need to verify this. It might not be that case, but from what it looks like, yeah, this is a very, very low income year. And so, obviously, I can't contain any of that. There's been some things that have gone on that have made this not a crisis. There's been some things we've been able to do to maneuver around that and not let that be something that causes me to have to do some things in panic and, that sort of thing. There's been some ability to invest in myself and my future and doing things like that. And so that's important, but there still needs to be an awareness of that you still need to have an eye on what's going on and kind of looking towards, okay, what does the future look like in that sense? I'm not saying try to predict the future. I'm saying the one thing you can predict about the future is your attitude within it. And that is going to be, and this is coming from a place of, holiday season. I see a lot of this, and I see a lot of these notions on social media and in conversations and with talks around the dinner table and all these kind of things. And one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of is a sense of, I don't want to simplify it and say helplessness. It really is a sense of that there's no control over the future, so why bother? And so it limits. And I don't think that's what this is saying. I think what this is saying is, if you can get a plan together and stick to it and be mindful of your flocks in that way and be let me read that again just to, of course this locked on me. So it says, for riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all our generations. In other words, you can't just sit by and let things happen. when the grass is gone and new growth appears, and the herbage of the mountains is gathered. The herbage of the mountains is gathered is an interesting notion. There's a pattern that is occurring there. It's a cycle of going around and looking at the various little clumps that grow on the mountains that or the rocks that the herds can eat, but they don't grow very quickly, and so you have to kind of vary your times with that. So you have to have a plan for that. You can't just take your herds out across a mountain and hope for the best. There's paths to follow. There's and I'm talking specifically in like Israel and regions like that. That this is a thing, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe there are some the Bedouins or something like that. There are some that actually still do it this way. That the tradition is still active today of doing this way, and so the lambs will provide your clothing, and the goats will press your field. There'll be enough goat's milk for your food, and the food for your household, and the nourishment for your female servants. In other words, when you have a plan and you stick to it, then that is what produces. I know I hear a lot of, well, just waiting for God to get me this promotion, or waiting for God to find me a job, or things like that. And I have to wonder in those kind of situations, is like, what kind of preparedness has God put in front of you? What kind of things has He asked you to be responsible for? What kind of patterns are in your life today that are either supporting a change or supporting a negative change, maybe even? There are those kind of things. And I see that a lot in people that numb themselves with, I see a lot of things, and I'm guilty of this at times myself. There's the obvious things like alcohol and drugs and things like that. But I think more often than not, the more popular drug of choice is things like news and social media, and there's some that do like video games and other distractions like that. Some get into other even worse things than that. But bottom line here is that those are patterns, and those are ways to numb yourself away from the reality that you need to get up. You need to make a pattern and work that pattern. And this is true of me. I've allowed a lot of complacency into my life that shouldn't be there. And so one of the big patterns I'm going to be changing about my life in the next week or so, in kind of formulating this, is getting back to following a regular plan. I used to write out a daily plan and stick to it and that sort of thing, and that's the pattern I've gotten out of in months recently, just because I've just gotten so frustrated with not achieving things that I've just stopped writing them down. Well, in a strange kind of way, that's also affected my ability to prepare, to follow those patterns of those paths in the not in the fields but on the rocks, to know when to gather and when not to, what path to be on, because it's already laid out for me. I've already decided. And so in this coming year, that is going to be a big important thing for me, is making sure that I am following a path that I've kind of set that pattern of, so it's really not about goal setting as much as it is recognizing that I need to be doing this for things like revenue. I need revenue coming in so that I can go buy food for my family. In our modern world, that is what we do, right? That's our caring for our flocks, is that sort of thing. And so those of you that are kind of stuck in this passive mode about it, like it's not your responsibility for your own income, that you just go to a job and do your job and come home, I want to encourage you that that's not what we're told. We're not told to just simply have a mindless job we go to. We're told to mind our flocks. And so you need to be taking an active role in not only what that job provides for you and what you do with it, but also your intentionality about it. And so I do want to give you that rebuke, I guess you could say, if that is you, that there's no passivity here in Proverbs about this. We see some other passages about just getting up, doing the work, and getting the fair wage and all that kind of stuff. But God's after our hearts, not our wages, and He knows what's in there. And if you are doing the work, but not to God's glory, but just to do the work, that's not to God's glory, is it? And so I'm going to challenge you in this coming year, especially, and especially in this coming first few months, when it's very important to align our year with God. And so I'm going to encourage you and rebuke any kind of doubts within you to get a pattern and get that something that you're following, and that is something, if you need to make adjustments, that's fine. That's good. It's good to make adjustments as you need to, but try not to stray from the pattern unless you need to. Try not to stray from your, whether it's daily routines, whatever. I use an app on my phone called it's literally just called Habits. It's a habit tracker. And getting back into doing that more faithfully is going to be something that I'm doing, just to make sure that I'm following the pattern. Did I follow up with the right people today? Did I, do the things that I said I was going to do? Did I write today? All these kind of things that are important to me. These are the kind of things that I'm going to be tracking. And so that is how we care for our flocks and our fields in our modern day world. Hope that's something helpful to you today. And I look forward to being back with you live on the 28th. So, yeah, until then, be blessed by the best. And then go be a blessing to all the rest. Love you guys. We'll see you next time.